On January 21st, the day before the Geneva 2 talks started, expert women from all over the globe met to discuss Syrian women's rights to be part of the peace talks.
I want to thank them for all their stand for peace and their voices for non-violent conflict resolution. It's very important that we from outside acknowledge and support the Syrian women and men who are working on the ground for a peaceful solution. No to bloodshed, no to war, and yes to solving their problems through dialogue and through negotiation.
Well, first of all, women bring those aspects that reflect how women are discriminated against. For example, we brought to the table the need to give women equal access to housing, health, and education. We brought to the table the need to put an end to violence against women. We brought to the table the need to give women the space, the opportunity for political participation at the highest level. So these are issues that without our presence, it's hard to get inside the peace accords.
I think women recognize that violence means that people are killed, children die, communities are destroyed, and violence doesn't solve any problems. Women know that every life is sacred and that we shouldn't be killing each other, and they bring a very strong peace message to the communities that they have to rebuild and to the political processes which are taking place to move the society forward.
There are two main obstacles that Syrian women are facing nowadays. It's the oppression and the violence of the government, and on the other hand, it is the Islamic fundamentalism.
Violence. When violence is happening in your community, the fear increases. People are struggling with just how do you feed your family and survive every day. So violence is the biggest. That's why the right to peace and the necessity for peace is the very first thing in any situation of conflict.
So there is a working paper that I really teach all the time on the internet. It's up there. It's on WILPF's website and other websites.
It's important for them to come together because that's exactly which will make the voice louder. So across the board, from everywhere, they need to come together as a coalition. They may have different ideas, maybe having different, political impulsions, but they have to come together for one thing, for peace.
I believe that they are doing well. I'm very much impressed with how they presented their work. And I believe what I already said, they need to be together and not negotiate. They should request their rights, because human rights are women's rights as well. So they should really fight for their rights, forget on their backgrounds, and be united in common goal. It means peace.
We really want to see in this work. So there is a working paper that I really teach all the time.
I think I would like to speak mainly and first of all about the most important step, which is to stop the war. And then on the second step, the different groups that are in Syria should sit around one table and start dialoguing and negotiating.
Dialogue. When you say no to violence, be it state violence and injustice, or be it paramilitary violence, then the next thing is that you have to offer an alternative, which is dialogue, talking to each other, listening to each other, being prepared to talk to everybody and anybody. In Northern Ireland, when we went into dialogue, we had to overcome our own fear, our own anger, our own panic, our own prejudices, and we had to reach out to those who were using guns, violence, and see them as human beings who had taken wrong choices, and speak to them and move forward to dialogue and forgiveness. And I believe that these conflicts cannot be solved purely by political policies. They are spiritual as well. We need to bring the spirit of compassion, forgiveness and love, and to recognise that as a human family we can reject bomb and the bullet and all the techniques of violence and build friendships together.
They have to tell their fathers, their brothers, their husbands, and their relatives to put down their guns. That's enough.
It's absolutely necessary if we really want to see an end to this war. So there is a working paper.
I completely believe there's hope for Syria, because I was in Syria last year and I met many, many people who are working for a non-violent solution. The civil community and many women who are building inside their own communities peaceful and reform through political methods and means. And that is an important element. In conflicts you have the paramilitaries or the rebels, and then you have government, and these two are clashing. The civil community is the missing link to building the peace process, and that's why we need to insist that women's voices are at the negotiating table and their agenda is peace. And they know that unless they have peace, you can't talk about all the other issues, the human rights, the equality, the changes that need to take place in their society. So that's why women can be the, if you like, the jam in the sandwich to bring together the warring factions, and to insist, as we did in Northern Ireland, on all-inclusive, unconditional talks to solve the problem.